Mado here jia nak jimona yang anayat. Stibingali jiron doezen jimona again. Jindu we bay jibingali don't know what. Gracine Hicks Johojif Gadon. Jujut kozat henan lege domach. Hena dolova. Taka no ge. Jut kozat dogo no ge. Taka no ge. Oes yana kononjak onagujima hoga. Anda Marat moiro mats jujut kozat nak magezi nak iha hoyen ifadas obadas dotka man hoji video mats bunda dotka gogi bohak chiwai di manak folat wes haya bohis ko do folat amoga sumajit to edi ayuwa mi jagadi wes Sudalawa, but mi jagi domats. Imaneja gahana. Ansab bida kai hojat. Man mi hoji domats. Oes jujut kozat he jay domats. Triton church man dimbin a bogi don. Jabawat man em a bogi don. Jujut kozat jabosi yo mo legin oes. But I guess I go on the west and Jajolat, Ibagan, the way did it. West not so good fully domats. Bohagi domats, fit the no bogi domats. Fit the yo homeby. Bogi oji godonga. Fit and homeby don. Nak bohi domats. If a des. Negiro amaget. Bonaktos, ma hogin. West, Jabingali domats. Fit and a bogi no what. Ayo with a bogi no anda naskaban lagi domats jabingala. Wes a bogi dotka hiji domats. Negirak afto going. Wes ayo with all the don bogi ihanyo it. Negidoa jabawat itchanisset I don't much this is a hana. Marasi jidomach. If a des fallen Madua gaji Wes dotka dogzin Sogin hiji domach. Triton church lega man. Sogin hiji domach. Man owa fish jawi donga. Bonjogoda o jigodon. Manabi man fish jawi don. Jabi kaledo mas dios. Aya cheese mahog nadi. Naskabanstin fui said all they domach. Ma siene jagahana. Manimahado moyadida. Naki hayagat. Hosi avat man mi jak to madat. Ada sishia jak madoa gon gitli skon det mi jak mo gitli goron doesen. So gi follow andat. Gisle no what andat. Dogna wa man joga hodi ahye. Mananda jaweshi ge noes. Stibinga lidomats mahijagat. Haywa buhis kodondo. Buhip kiwe does andat. Jajut kozat anto wana bogi domat ida jogo sigon wanda guzida a bogi man nak hiji domat man dotka gejaya git lak chiwedi wes isti sogi hijagi domat phone nangi haya bogi skodondo demat abone jama ma bogiat adokiat stimo bane jidui nak store di ma bailey hill ge ho jiro git lak juedi we wolf ge ma gun ho we lega man bailey hill ho ji vidomat julie leg on bailey bullet man a ho ji vidomat bailey hill wes mat stimmingali domat andon and his sogi ho koli a okaboga gis ibonaiya maki aro lechi okabogin Jaga hayo ida dakhichka lege mach e bonado wigi istoi join lege e nakamanaf kido mach yik jahan ni hayo dakston jimmi jak chage jan bonda meji godo jimiji xmage me jak ton cheske jan mahangi sadokadi abi bigis anjo man abi bigis ke jan ado mo allergy jigodan Okabogi, bobingali do masti, okabogi. Negiro wa magen Fulat kas hijas magen anda fulat kahanak skejen o kabogi OS aro hada major alleged to go skejen alleged I buffni na bi masjid anjogo sofi jachki ne munayan nak portuis nak sto no kabogak cheza bogeje buhan hoyen OS so gido machtina nak jibingale de jiach no ma nayiderando ma church dimbidon ma Vernon ma hogesi anjogo molega wilgofki folot kaga man abogi no mats jojolat naksugi hijido ma choes anda jojot kaza madigo zingi slaido nak iha hoya unga dotka magaya dotka gogi maga os mara hijimahi domats sogi man fully domats ayogion okoles de zakulaget os ihanyoage jumonta gion snip ka gion fullen man hijidomats naksogin stujut kazat nakhijagidomats hanywa moigonongo os abone hochigmahi gonondo hanywa os naksto os ma istijab ko mahogezi mo ukhavidomats mahogemats belio anahangi sulege mach isket magen iskidoya his ahada beget Anna day bahandes, jogo yufugi bahandes, gejen, hangiro legi munget. OS we homi sayat chi magen. Asi se much mangan, we homi asi se. Slit kahando es gejen, OS nak aja sich to much magan. O hijago OS and aja sich. Fullet kidan yo jabingalido. We homi yo sized as a nia fallet astak baladet. I am at mangan. OS hijago no man, OS. Pokidons man, Japkidons, Gabalasti Achidon. OS, Garbogo, Lady, OS, the Thovada, Hijiskodomach, mother. You muchki donoa, go in, Hijaga, Ahijet. Hangida the ski bemongin of Legin, Haji Bimats, mother, under the Jabingali Tongana, you forgive Bandesco, you forgive Mammoth man. OS, not so gi, my fatcha, full lagido, Hiom. Full lagi wadi, if la OS. Chimana ho you waited a OS. Manana na ho you mats, and yo he jamats, Madoka dogs OS, istijapko mahoga, Mada and that. Hijagomak, so as negid odi, how you want to get that jedo, negid. Abamonaf kadi, gumwedo, ado hangit sigo, istio, sigo do what? Negid odi gone, I get that jedo OS. Mafacha haya, you forget godo. Aya chabingalidonga, you forget godo. Mahagujuga bidagi mahaya again. Abida buyashtos magen, this is the buyashtos. Busai chidi magen, anda sijahana, ayida jasto no what. Jinda gozida yibacheske, and anda chabingalidonga. OS, nak pingalin, hijida buyasto, magen was. Nithi ya afgana yet iman af legit in hijahan don chiskejen mo mi ko sab ko jogo mo abi domats manakobania iki stimiki fully domats man os mo mi ko sab ko jogo yo no nakpo hi domats nak tak fullen ako dali tako ada hanwa man jabosi manabihi Deslom hagis magen. Chaping galidoa. OS anda doba naskamandak gichet. Walking bay no much. Jabingala. OS naksogi hayat. Onagoji ojiat. Mulsongito. Estero naigon. Ajolaga mo sumijiben. Mamawan hiya nakmijiat. Bidagi ajolagat. Hijagahana mamichtuis. Nak bonagades, mosongi bat, mahogat, manohogi wedadi, OS, hiya bidagi, ajolagat, hijagahin boyajat, nak pomio, hijedi, stimanai, no what, Mvskoke fully gite pois going. Man naksti monai dondo. Ya nakona goji ojiat. Met bonda hijiadi. Mamoan stimonai dondo. OS. Nette origin. Mvskoke ubanaga sungin do what? Hian hichoyen. Oh, moi bonaho ido what des. Gon. Full poyin boyaja. Man miji dondos. OS. Anda naksogi. Mahogat. Hijagadi do. Hijagodai donga. Jabingala danda. Nak mahog na danda. Aida jaji godonga. Aya godoman. OS. Jabowet man nakhi jidonga. Anto wanali donga. Naksogin hichdo as magin. Danogadi mo gitla godondos. Hiyan akasiak legen. Anisi di bagya nak fayahan ahoduis market. Ahoy mada. OS hiyan nak mahogat. Hokti gehojat. Stihet kibonaga mermaid. Maho gidondo esin. Man hitch doing much magen. Stimbona hoy edokagin. OS stimbona you know what? Det. Inju bosani godos boge hojin. Na estimona gono much malos. Salakit. Jabosi ichkinonga man bomonado much man hitch doing much. OS hijafchi gadis boge hojin. OS hitch doing much. Bunai okagi digesiyo. Gasagin okagin owa. Muy jacket owa nakji horo much magen. Naksogim amonaido ma mosongito. Haywa nakamonai. Deman ojagodo haya ajola in boneda. OS hiya nakchimonai na. Hijit magak doanks mage agitejak jehis gon manjimonado is. Onga medigos in anda och doega. Iyan jimonayak does. Mado. I said, when I was growing up, I grew up around Hannah, the big town of Hannah, not the little town. No, I'm kidding. The little town, that's where I grew up, around the Trenton area. Mvskoke, I'm sure everybody knows where Mvskoke's at. That's where I grew up, in that area. There was a lot of things that went on when I was younger. I moved away when I was older, because I was scared to live down there. Everybody liked living out in the country, but I was scared of the country because of the things that I saw when I was growing up. Like I was saying before, we called them shapeshifters. They would make themselves into dogs, or we called them dortka, which is like a light. Fire, it's a fire, but we called them gulga because they were like lights. And we would see them out in the fields behind our house. My uncle would set up sometimes late at night just watching to see. And we had to sleep outside. And I was scared to sleep outside. So every time we put our beds outside, mine was always in the middle. I would make my uncle on this side, my cousin on this side, somebody right here, and I would put my bed in the middle because I was always scared. But my uncle we'd always sit outside and tell stories. You know, back then, we didn't watch a lot of TV like they do now. You know, a lot of times, or we got our cell phones. We didn't have those back then, so we just talk. He just told us stories of things of long ago. But the Gulgis, I don't know if anybody's heard about the lights, but they were called shapeshifters. And those were supposed to be used for the good of our tribes. For them to be able to, when they went into the armies, to be able to communicate and talk to each other and be able to hide from the enemy so that they could capture them. But I don't know how that got out of hand, how that came back to our area, and they thought use it to go to people's houses. Now, if I knew that, I always told my uncle, if I knew how to do that, do you think I'd waste my time on going to somebody else's house? I'd go into a bank and get me some money. You know, that's what I would do. But you don't hear about it now these days. I mean, I haven't. We talk about it at work a lot, me and Oscar and Becky, of things that went on. But I was saying also that Bailey Hill, going over that big hill before you get to Mvskoke. We called it Bailey Hill. There was an elder man that lived there, and his name was Bailey Bullet. Well, we named that after him, I guess, or my ancestors did. We called it Bailey Hill. So one night, we were going to go stomp dance. Me, Becky, and Judy. We all hung around with each other, but she had forgot her shells. So we said, oh, that's okay. I think we were at Peach Ground. We said, oh, that's okay, we'll go get them. So we went back to her house, and we said, oh, let's sit here for a while and talk. So we was all sitting up there. We thought we was real bad, we was gonna talk about boys, you know how it is when you're young. You gotta talk about guys. So we were sitting in the car. Becky was driving, and Judy was in the middle, and I was on the end by the door. So I was trying to sit bad, and I had my legs up and had my head against the window, and we was talking and laughing, and something banged on I had my head like this, and something went. And when I looked at him, I said, y'all quit. I said, y'all's trying to steer. I said, y'all quit. And Judy said, I didn't do that. And Becky said, I didn't do that either. And I said, yes, y'all did. And it was just like something was there. You know how when you're somewhere and you can feel somebody looking at you? I felt, and I didn't want to turn around. They said, turn around and look. I said, I'm not looking. You turn around. So we was all arguing about who's going to turn around and look and see. We was all arguing, and then I said, Becky, let's go back to my house. Because I live right below the hill. Trenton Church was right here, and then my house was right there. I said, let's go back to the house. And she tried to start the car, and it wouldn't start. And I said, Becky, quit doing that. You're just doing that, trying to start that car. And she said, I can't. She said, it won't start. And she turned that key, and it wouldn't start. And I said, we kept saying, please start, please. And we were all scared. We were all screaming. We was in that car, we was screaming. And so finally, she got that car started. We went to my mom. We went back to the house, and we was telling my mom, we said, something knocked on the window. And she said, what was y'all doing sitting up there? We said, well, we were just talking. We were going to go get Judy's shells, but we didn't get to make it over there. And so anyway, she said, y'all quit sitting up there. Y'all know things happen up there. But anyway, she said, don't y'all be doing that again. So anyway, Becky said, I'm not going home. She said, I'm going to stay all night with you. She said, let's go. We took Judy home. And then Becky stayed all night with me. And she said, then the next morning, she goes, I'm not driving back by myself. You have to go home with me. So I went back with her. Then we got her mom. And we told her mom what we'd done. Of course, she got on to us too. And so anyway, we went back home. And then I was telling y'all about my cousin. Him and his brother-in-law was sitting up on the hill. They were drinking. You know how it is when you want to party and stuff. Well, they were sitting out there drinking, and he said his brother-in-law was already getting drunk. And he said, I thought, I'm not going to stay up here. I'm going to go home. Well, he lived below the hill too. So he said, I'm going to go ahead and walk back. So he said, I thought, I'm not leaving him with all this beer. I'm going to take all this beer with me. So he said he grabbed the beer, and he said he heard something. And he saw something, but he said it was real tall. Had on a black long coat, had a hat on, but no face. He said, I couldn't see no face. It was so, but he said, I don't know if it was dark and I couldn't see. But he said, I took off walking. He said, I was walking real slow, just coming down. And I heard something walking behind me. And he said, I thought I'll take off running. But he didn't want to drop his beer. He was holding on to that beer. So he said he was running. He said he still heard that thing. So he started throwing that beer back. He said, maybe he wants, he said, I was thinking, maybe he wants my beer. So he said, I started throwing that beer back. And he said, I never looked back. He said, I ran all the way home to see, and he got home, of course. He got home and told his mom what was going on. And she said, how come you were sitting up there drinking anyway? You shouldn't have been up there. You know how it was. We all got in trouble for things we did, but like I said, things like that went on in that area. And when I was teaching at Holdenville, I had some students, and they said, tell us scary stories, Mahia. So I was telling them things that happened when I was growing up, and they was like, take us back over there. I said, I'm not going over there, y'all. I said, I'll show y'all where it's at. Y'all can go after dark and stay there and see what y'all want to see. I said, but I'm not going back. I said, I done lived through all that stuff, so I'm not going back. But things like that, and I'm sure there's a lot of stories out there, but we've lost a lot of elders to tell us all these stories. But me, I was always scared. So, you know, the stories that I know, I would see them, and my uncle would, of course, chase after it. He'd go with the gun and chase after it. He'd say, "Go with me." I was like, "No, I'm not going." I didn't add this in when I talked in Creek, but I'm going to add this part in here, Brandon, and then I'll translate it. Jujut kaza, Jominit doma toes. Fitta no say no much. Hishjay, my God, Hishjay. Nithi Hamgin, Mija much. A hoagie hochet. Hishjay, my Isti doge. Hello, Jagat Dakli kemas, Dakli dege. Jabo and Mona now. Fitta now the door jokes. Yeah, Jen. Christian is mocking, no what? Ma isti nini basangi legno marafto made so much. When I was in my teenage years, I used to open the door and I'd say, "Hishjay," or I'd say, "Hello, anybody out there?" And I used to do that as a joke. And my uncle used to say, "You better quit doing that. One day somebody's going to answer you." But I would do it anyway. I'd say, "Hello." And so that one night, we were all in there, was watching TV, and me and my uncle always sat there and talking and stuff. And I opened that door and I said, "Hello, anybody out there?" And somebody said, "Hello," and I took off running. I ran into the house and I said, "Hey, somebody's out there." I was telling my uncle, I said, "Somebody's out there." And he said, "I told you to quit doing that." And he went out there to go see, and he said, "There was a man across the road," and I got scared. But we always got in trouble for stuff like that. When you're not supposed to holler at night. Of course, I always did that. And I was the one that was always scared, but I would do crazy things like that. But anyway, that's the end of my story, and I thank Yardika. And I wasn't supposed to be a storyteller today, but I filled in for someone else. But I thank you guys, thank everybody, thank the language program, and me and Philip and Becky, we talk about the old times, things that went on, and we've lost a lot of elders during this COVID year. You know, but if you still have your grandparents, if you still have them, ask them questions, write down things, because one day they're not going to be there. And then you're not going to know their stories. We want to keep these stories going, because one day, maybe my grandkids or my great-grandkids, maybe one day they're going to say, "I want to see what my grandma sounded like." And they'll probably say, "Gosh, she was crazy." But anyway, we want to record all this stuff and keep them for future use. You know, we should have been doing this a long time ago. You know, I think about that myself. You know how when I was younger, I used to write in diaries, you know. And now we got Facebook. You know, in diaries, we used to be like, "I don't want nobody reading my diary," you know. But now we put everything on Facebook. And everybody reads it. If nobody reads it, we're like, "How come I didn't get no likes for this?" But anyway, if you have your grandparents, if you know elders, talk to them, write these things down, so that one day, maybe we can record you. It doesn't have to be in Mvskoke. If you know some things in English, let us record you what your grandparents told you. Because one day you're going to want your great-great-great-grandkids to be able to see this. And all this will be stored for them to see. Because there's a lot of things we were told as growing up. Don't do this, don't do that. You know, I'm sure everybody went through that stage. I got in trouble all the time because I did do the things I'm not supposed to. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for allowing us to come here and to share these stories. So I tell everybody a big mado, and maybe one day my I'm going to say great-great-great-great grandkids get to see this. So mado, and I will end it here. Mado, everybody.